friends, my name is Soleil. I'm a full-time food photographer, videographer, content creator, recipe developer, and creative. Let's add entrepreneur in there as well because I'm always looking for new ways to obviously generate wealth, have fun with money and food, and build my business. So thanks for being here. I am just making this video really because I think it's a, I haven't really made a video on what I do, how I got started, and then I'm gonna be answering some frequently asked questions. So I wanted to start by kind of how I got into food photography. I guess, on the photography piece, I got my first, I think it was a Nikon D40. For those of you that don't know, it is like a very old camera. It is discontinued. It is no longer a made camera. I think I got that for Easter one year when I was in middle school. And growing up, my family and I always traveled a lot. So, prior to always having a cell phone as a kid, it was really great to have my first camera and just document all those trips. Was my composition and documenting so wonderful? Probably not, but having a camera in my hand from a young age was really where the photography piece started. Kind of moved to senior portraits, and then really what really kickstarted it was I had a travel blog. For those that know, it was called Somewhere Soleil, all throughout college and post-college. Fast forward through, and in 2018 I won a Reader's Choice from Saveur magazine for Reader's Choice for a travel blog. But we all know the best part of traveling is eating food. So the two kind of went hand in hand. I was taking a lot of pictures of places, but also of food. Once I got to the award ceremony, it was in Memphis, Tennessee, my first time. It was so fun. I was actually surrounded by a lot of food bloggers, and while I did a lot of documenting of food that I had eaten, I also love cooking and baking, and that's always been something, and being around that company really just inspired me to learn more about food photography, more studio, commercial, in the kitchen sort of work. So January 2020, 2 months before COVID, I take an online food photography course. It was free, and then I signed up for it and did the paid version, and I learned so much. And 2 months later, we got on lockdown. All I had was my camera in my kitchen, and it was a perfect time to just kind of build that portfolio and kind of get familiar with lighting and things I just never really focused or paid much attention to. Fast forward 2 years, I kind of start building up a client list, start working with restaurants and CPG, and I would say in Foresight, like, these are kind of the main areas that I work within. CPG standing for consumer packaged goods, where a product may ship their stuff to me, and then I'll make a recipe with it, shoot it either in a more lifestyle setting or like more studio, kind of commercial, my own studio setting. And just about over a month ago, I got the opportunity to go full-time into food photography and content creation. Excuse me. And it has been such a blast. It's always been a side hustle, a passion, and I was always scared about kind of taking my passion and side hustle and turning it into a full-time thing, just because I always feel like with something that you love doing on the side, turning it full-time, you kind of lose that whimsy and that immature joy is what I would say, like unfiltered joy, because even though I love cooking, I never wanted to be a chef because I knew there was a lot more underneath the surface of just making food. So I think I was a little nervous to go full-time into that realm, but I'm so glad I did. It has been the best last couple of months, just doing what I actually love. And I always was skeptical of people saying, oh, just do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. And I hate to be cliche, but it has been very true in the last few weeks, because it's so much fun doing something that I actually like to do. A little bit more on my background, I do come from a digital marketing background. So always have been in business. I've done a lot of project management, account management in the last couple of years when I was doing more full-time stuff. So that has also helped building my small business and kind of market myself and dealing with social media, SEO, all those things. So that's a little bit about how I got started. I think kind of the next thing I want to talk about is what do I actually do? I know photography, videography, recipe development, that can mean so many different things. So I guess I'll take you through the most recent kind of structure of my day, which really there is no structure to my day. I work with a few different brands, CPG brands, so consumer packaged good brands, like I said. And what they'll typically do is they'll send me their product, and this could be anything from instant ramen to granola bars to anything that comes like unprepared but packaged. And a few different kind of branches that I can go into would be, one would be recipe development. So say a granola bar wants to work with me, but they have their spring holidays coming up. So they have Mother's Day, they have Easter coming up. They say, hey, we want to make an Easter themed granola recipe with like our granola bar. So I might take the bar, I might crumble it up, put it on top of yogurt with some fruit, or I might repurpose it into a base layer for a cheesecake. And then I'll shoot it with the packaging, and that might go in any platform. So that could go on social media, that can go on their blog. So when you're looking for, you know, you have a product, you're like, what do I do with it, or how do I bake it? That is one of the things I do. Apart from that, I'm typically doing short form videos, so reels, TikToks, and it's not always my face. It's typically more, you know, planning out a recipe or a feature or a shot and then kind of making that come to life. That could be, you know, a quick kind of just easy salad for lunch, but incorporating the products in that salad. So overhead shot, doing some quick edits, but also you could do like a slow-mo drop or like a drop of ice cream melting or something. So kind of doing that, and that typically falls on, again, the brand's social media. It could be, you know, paid ads down the line, but it's really heavily around social media. We do eat with our eyes. And then on the off side, if I am doing like restaurants or personal branding, that's on location. The client will have a shot list of angles and dishes and things they want to capture. And then I just work that out with the client on location and show up and shoot. Okay, next topic is the equipment I use, and that could go on forever, but I just knocked one of the things I use. I will just go through the really basic stuff, and I realize my camera's over there. So first off is this guy. This is a Sony a7R3. Can't even remember. Yes, A7R, something like that. It's A7R3, I'm pretty sure. Anywho, and then this lens right here is a Sigma 35mm. I don't know if you can see that. And then I have one more lens, again, over there. Oh, and also what I'm recording on right now is the Sony ZV-1 vlog camera. And this is my other lens. This is a Sigma 105mm macro. Again, you cannot see that, I'm sorry. But 105mm macro, and I'll put all the links to what I shoot with down there. I have the Godox SL152 video light, and then Manfrotto tripod, a Ciru like extender arm, and then a Godox flash as well. So that's a lot. And then of course my iPhone, which I desperately need to get a new one because it is cracked. But most of the magic happens on here. In terms of equipment, I'm someone that only likes to get something if I really, really need it, because equipment can be expensive. When I first bought this brand new camera, it was like $2,400, photography, initial investment, and just in terms of equipment, if you're thinking about like actual long-term photography, apart from your iPhone, just know it is an investment, but it does get paid back over time. But yeah, so I mostly use my iPhone or my camera, mostly my camera. And then, you know, if I'm like using diffusers or backgrounds, there's so many different companies for like food backgrounds, a lot of prop shopping. I mean, obviously I love the big ones like CB2, Williams Sonoma, but those get really expensive. So a great place to go is Goodwill. That is like a go-to spot for plates, props. In terms of fabrics, Joann's is like a great place to get fabrics too. But yeah, those things can add up. So trying to be conscious of that. And then like food obviously is just wherever I'm getting food. But those are kind of the main things that I use. You can get a lot of stuff on Amazon. I'm not an expert in lighting. Maybe I will be one day, make another video about it. But I would say Joni at the Bite Shop on Artificial Academy is really good. Photography School by Sarah. Those are really good resources if you kind of just want to learn like what's in their bag. And then I can list a bunch of other ones. But yeah, I try to stay lean with the stuff. Oh, and Michael's, sorry, craft places for like foam boards. Again, you do not need to spend like thousands and thousands of dollars unless you're filming like, I don't know, giant Nike ads or like, you know, really high scale, needing a lot of attention to detail. But I try to stay lean. I love my Sony stuff. I guess one thing to note is I did shoot on Nikon for 10 years. And after 10 years with Nikon, I had heard about Sony's mirrorless cameras and I had no idea what that meant. And I did a lot of research and finally just decided to say, yes, I'm gonna do it. And I love my Sony. There was a little bit of a learning curve because everything's just so different, but I would never go back to what I had before, and I love my mirrorless camera. So if you're thinking about getting a new camera, think about getting a mirrorless camera. It's just, there's a whole article I'm sure you can learn about on how it's so great. And I learned it was so great, so. And then I think the only other thing, which I wanna be very transparent about, is more of the logistic things like, how much do I make? Is it a viable career? And like clients and all those things. So this might be a second part video, but with being confidential to clients, I will say I am in the 6-figure range for making food photography and doing that as my full-time. Most of it's coming from clients in terms of income. I will say there's other parts to my personal brand that I'm building on. So obviously YouTube, and then like with Instagram, monetization, those are things that I'm kind of trying to build out. And then hopefully if you stick around, I'm going to be building out hopefully a few mini courses on not just photography, but business in general. I'm so grateful for my parents, one for buying my first camera, but also for having the perfect jobs to help me build my business, and in terms of like their legal and business and accounting knowledge. So shout out to mom and dad. And that's kind of, you know, I definitely want to keep building on and getting more clients, but also trying to build some more digital products, downloads, presets, all those things. So you can really diversify your income as a creative, content creator, photographer, all that. But that's a little bit kind of overview of my life as a food photographer and creator. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to learn more about day in my life, kind of my food photography journey and process, good recipes I'll be making, and then probably some crazy travels because I do love traveling and got to taste all the food and where it came from, then feel free to subscribe. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for tagging along.